Hi, everyone. Uh, I have come across an amazing connection between the Irish famine in the 1840s. The Bull McCabe was a famous character in the film and play The Field, great representation of old Ireland and what Ireland was before. And the current, so we've got the Irish famine 1840 40s. The Bull McCabe, who's a legend in Ireland, and the current coronavirus COVID-19. And stick around for this one because this is a whoa. Hang on a second. Now, so one of the famous scenes in The Field, you remember the Bull McCabe walks up because he's a big leader. He's a big figure in Carrickthomond, right? So the priest are locking the gates because there's a dispute over this and that, right? So the priest is locking the gates of the church, and the Bull McCabe is out in the crowd, and he's shouting at the priest, saying, "I see you're closing the gates again, Father. Sure, didn't you do the same thing at the time of the famine?" And a lot of people have always been said that in old Irish stories that God had turned their back on the Irish people at the time of the famine. And I'm now going to prove it to you that actually, would you believe it, it was not the case. And it actually is a connection to the coronavirus. What the priest was actually doing. So we know during the famine, it wasn't just hunger and the lack of potatoes for the people to eat that they were dying from. It was actually fevers, right? And a lot of fevers. But it's kind of strange because why was everyone getting so many different things? And you think back then without lack of scientists and paracetamol, they probably couldn't put their finger on it. So it was like this one and it's like that one. And it sounds like you might have this, you might have that. It sounds like the coronavirus because, you might have a cough or you might have a temperature, you might have this and you might have that. So I just get the famine, right? They had the fever, typhus, lice infestation, dysentery, smallpox, and would you believe what they built around there? That time of the famine, I'll put up the link of this one. They built fever hospitals. Think of the West County at the moment. Right, okay. So let's get on with it. So when the Bull McCabe says to the priest, "So you're closing the gates again, Father. Sure, you done the same the time of the famine. We already know that people died of hunger, but it was malnutrition, right? So when you're malnourished, because there's no potatoes, your immune system starts to go down. Therefore, you're more susceptible to infections. And so some people are dying of hunger. Some people are dying of fever. We know that a lot of Catholic priests and Protestant clergymen were dying as well at the time of the famine. So it wasn't the case that they were closing the gates in the 1840s, lobbing down to the nearest Aldi or Lidl and filling up with toilet rolls and shoving it in down top of the aisles of the church, saving it so they could go to the Jacks for the next 4 years. They weren't doing that. Ironically, and this is what must have been happening even though they didn't know it, and we already know everything's coming back, right? Everything's coming back. They were closing the gates of the church to stop mass gatherings of people. Stop big peoples and crowds. That's what they were stopping doing. It wasn't turning their back on the Irish people. They were actually closing the gates of the church to stop the mass gatherings of people and contracting the whatever they were getting because they didn't know. Sure, isn't the gates of the church closed today in Ireland? It's amazing how this is all turning around all over again. So, it's kind of amazing, really. But so just keep. I've actually a load of these little snippets of things I'm going to put up, and that is just one of them. The next one I'm going to put up is, it's actually an English one. So for all my, we love Only Fools and Horses as well. We love Only Fools and Horses in Ireland, obviously, because everyone loves Del Boy, Rodney, and our old granddad, God bless him, and Uncle Albert. And there's a story in there that actually that if they ran if they ran the story right, and if they ran the story right, it actually we'd be looking back at Only Fools and Horses as a documentary instead of watching the National Geographic channel. And I'm going to tie that one in very, very well, because it's a bit of crack anyway, lads. And sure, look, we'll keep us all laughing anyway for a while. So I'll put it up in a while. Okay, talk to you later. Bye, lads.